All right, so have you ever been like trying to send a text and you just can't figure out like the right way to word it?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Like when you're asking a friend for a favor
Mm-hmm.
and you don't want to sound too demanding?
Yeah. You want to strike the right tone?
Exactly. It's like,
Yeah.
you need that dinner recommendation, but you're like, well, wait,
Right.
what kind of food am I feeling?
Yeah.
What's the budget?
Uh-huh. What part of town?
Exactly. So, you're giving all these little details
Right.
to get to the perfect
You
suggestion.
got to give him the context.
Yeah. And it turns out this whole idea of, giving the right information to get what you want, well, it's a huge deal in the world of AI.
It really is.
That's where this idea of prompt engineering comes in.
Prompt engineering.
Yeah, so could you break that down for us?
Hey.
What exactly does that mean?
So prompt engineering is basically all about giving AI really clear and detailed instructions
Okay.
so that you can get the results that you're looking for.
So instead of just saying like, hey, AI, write me a poem, I need to be more specific.
Much more specific. Yeah, think of it like giving directions.
Okay.
Instead of just saying go north, you would say, go north for 2 blocks, turn left at the bakery, and you'll see it on your right.
Okay, I like that analogy. So it's
Yeah.
about being super precise.
Exactly.
So why is this prompt engineering thing such a big deal all of a sudden?
Well, it's because AI is becoming so powerful and accessible these days.
Mm-hmm.
But even the most advanced AI needs, good instructions to work properly.
Right.
And that's where prompt engineering comes in.
Got it. So are we like AI whisperers then, kind of guiding it?
I love that analogy. Yeah, I mean, in a way, we're like translators,
Yep.
bridging the gap between what we want as humans and what the AI can actually do.
Hmm. I have to admit, I usually just type in like a basic question into the AI and kind of hope for the best.
I think a lot of people do that. And that's where they kind of miss out on the real power of AI.
Oh, really?
Because a well-crafted prompt can make all the difference.
So how do we get started with this whole prompt engineering thing? What are the basics?
Well, the process itself is actually pretty simple.
Okay.
You have your input, which is your question or request, and any context the AI needs.
Like in that example we saw in the AI Now presentation about the dinner recommendations in Seattle.
Exactly.
It was like they had to give their friends so much information before they got a decent suggestion.
Yeah, like their preferences and what part of town they were in.
Right?
Yeah.
So that was kind of like prompt engineering without even realizing it.
Exactly.
I give the AI my carefully crafted prompt, then what?
Then the AI tool will process that input
Yep.
and generate a response based on its training and your instructions.
So the output is only as good as the input I get.
Exactly. Garbage in, garbage out.
Makes sense.
So yeah, that's why prompt engineering is so important.
Go.
It's about understanding how to communicate with AI effectively to get the results that you want.
Okay, so let's dive into the nitty-gritty here.
Oh, okay.
What are the elements of like a really good prompt?
Well, there are a few key things.
Okay.
First off, specificity.
Okay.
The more details you give, the better the AI can understand what you want.
So instead of saying, write me a poem about nature,
Right.
I might say, write a haiku about a cherry blossom tree in spring.
Exactly. You're painting a clearer picture for the AI.
Got it. So what else?
Clarity. You want to avoid being ambiguous and use concise language that the AI can process.
Okay, so no more rambling questions.
Exactly. Think like a programmer,
Okay,
breaking down your request into steps.
I can try.
And then, of course, context is crucial.
Context, what do you mean by that?
Well, think about it. If you asked a friend to summarize a movie, you'd probably tell them which movie you were talking about, right?
Right, of course.
AI needs that same background info.
Okay, so if I want an analysis of like a historical event,
Uh-huh.
I need to give the AI the dates and the key players.
Exactly. The more context, the more accurate and insightful the AI's response will be.
Wow. This is starting to feel like a real skill,
It is. It's like any skill. It takes practice.
Right. Okay, so we've got specificity, clarity, context.
Those are the big three.
Anything else I should keep in mind when I'm crafting these prompts?
Have you ever gotten an AI result that was just kind of like a little off?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Like not quite what you were looking for?
Yeah, sometimes it feels like the AI is speaking a totally different language.
Well, that's because despite all the amazing things AI can do, it still has some limitations.
Okay.
And it's important to be aware of those when you're crafting prompts. One of the biggest ones is bias.
Bias. Oh, right.
AI models are trained on massive data sets, and those data sets can reflect existing societal biases.
So the AI might like unintentionally perpetuate stereotypes or something.
Exactly. Like, let's say you're asking for career advice.
Okay.
The AI might suggest traditionally gendered roles just because the data it was trained on.
Oh, wow, that's a problem. So how do we deal with that? How do we prevent that kind of bias?
Well, you have to be very mindful of the language you use in your prompts. And you can actually explicitly ask for diverse perspectives.
So I could say something like, give me career options that aren't limited by traditional gender roles.
Exactly. You're basically guiding the AI towards a more fair and balanced response.
I'm realizing this prompt engineering thing is a lot more than just getting the AI to do what you want.
Right. It's about responsibility, too.
Exactly. What other challenges are there with AI?
Well, another one is unpredictability.
Unpredictability.
What do you mean? Even with the same prompt,
Yeah.
you might get slightly different responses each time.
Oh, really?
Why is that?
Well, AI models are constantly learning and evolving,
Uh-huh.
and there's often an element of randomness built into them.
So it's not like a calculator where you always get the same answer.
Right. It's more like collaborating with a creative partner.
Interesting. So what about AI's lack of, like, real-world knowledge? I mean, it's not like it can go out and experience things like we do.
That's a big one. Yeah,
Yeah.
AI learns from data,
Yeah.
but that data can be static.
Yeah.
It doesn't have our dynamic understanding of the world.
Yeah.
So how do we deal with that in our prompts?
By providing as much relevant information as possible.
Okay.
Like if you're asking about current events,
Yeah.
include recent news articles or data points.
So it's like I'm giving the AI a crash course before asking it a question.
Exactly. You're bridging that knowledge gap.
Got it. Okay, so we've talked about specificity, clarity, context.
Mm-hmm.
All the things that make a good prompt.
Right.
Is there anything else?
Well, now we can actually get into the anatomy of a prompt.
The anatomy of a prompt. There's more.
You think of it like a recipe.
Okay.
You have your core ingredients,
Right.
but then you can add all these extra spices and flavors to really create something special.
Okay, so what are those secret ingredients for a really great prompt?
Well, one is persona.
Persona. Okay.
Like imagine you're asking the AI for a creative writing piece.
Uh-huh.
Do you want it written from the perspective of a child or a detective or maybe even a robot?
Oh, I see.
Specifying the persona adds depth and personality to the AI's output.
So if I want a children's story, I could say something like, write this story in the voice of a playful squirrel who loves to collect acorns.
Exactly. You're setting the stage for the AI.
I like it.
Then there are the instructions.
Yeah.
This is where you get super specific about what you want the AI to do.
Okay, so like, write a poem with 4 stanzas and a rhyming scheme of ABAB.
Exactly. The more detailed your instructions,
Yeah.
the less room for ambiguity.
Got it.
And then there's input content.
Input content. Isn't the prompt the input?
Well, sometimes you need to provide the AI with source material to work with.
Oh, okay.
Like if you want a summary of a research paper, you'd need to paste the whole paper into the prompt.
So the AI is not just pulling information out of thin air.
Right, it needs something to work with.
Okay, that makes sense. So is that all the anatomy of a prompt?
Almost. There's also format and additional information.
Okay.
Like, do you want the output in a specific format, like a list or a table?
Oh, yeah.
Or are there any keywords or phrases you want the AI to include or avoid?
So I could say something like, write a travel itinerary for me in bullet points and make sure it includes activities for kids.
Exactly. You're basically fine-tuning the output to meet your needs.
Wow, this is a lot more to prompt engineering than I thought.
It's like a little art form.
It is. So what about those AI hallucinations we were talking about earlier?
Oh, right. So sometimes AI can generate outputs that sound really plausible, but they're factually incorrect or even totally made up.
Ooh, that's kind of scary.
Oh.
So how do we stop that from happening?
Well, you have to be very clear in your instructions
Okay.
and encourage the AI to admit when it doesn't actually know something.
Like in that Trivial Pursuit example from the presentation.
Exactly.
Where the AI just responded with a question mark when it didn't know the answer.
Right. You're basically teaching the AI to be honest about its limitations.
That's so smart. So it's like we're building trust to the AI.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. The challenges of AI, the anatomy of a prompt, even those hallucinations.
It's a lot to take in.
It is. So where do we go from here? What's next?
Well, now that we have the basics down, I think it's time to look at some real-world applications of prompt engineering.
Oh yeah, let's see this thing in action. All right, so real-world applications. I'm ready.
Okay, so one area where this is really taking off is content creation.
Content creation, okay.
You know, imagine being able to generate all this high-quality content like articles, blog posts, even social media captions.
Whoa, so I could just say goodbye to writer's block.
Pretty much. With the right prompts, AI can become your creative partner,
Oh, that's cool.
helping you brainstorm ideas, overcome those mental blocks.
So it's like having a brainstorming buddy.
Exactly. And you can produce so much more content.
What about other applications? I remember in the AI Now presentation, they talked about coding.
Yes, prompt engineering is huge in software development.
Right.
It can help with writing and debugging code,
Wow.
so developers can be way more efficient.
So even if I don't know much about coding, I could use AI to build like simple apps or websites?
Exactly. It's making technology accessible to everyone.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What other fields are using prompt engineering?
The possibilities are endless, like customer service.
Customer service.
Those AI-powered chatbots?
Uh,
They can handle basic inquiries and resolve issues.
so no more of those frustrating automated phone systems.
Hopefully not. With effective prompts, chatbots can offer a much better customer experience.
That would be nice. What about education? Can prompt engineering help there?
Absolutely. Imagine AI tutors that can adapt to each student's learning style,
Oh, wow.
provide personalized feedback, and make learning more interactive.
So for students who struggle in a traditional classroom, this could be a game changer.
Exactly. It's personalized education like we've never seen before.
This is all so fascinating. It feels like prompt engineering is opening up a whole new world of possibilities.
It really is, and we're just at the beginning.
I know, it's so exciting.
As AI keeps evolving, so will prompt engineering.
Right.
We're going to see even more creative applications in the future.
Okay, so for our listeners out there, what's the key takeaway? What should they do if they want to explore this prompt engineering thing?
Be curious, experiment. Don't be afraid to try different prompts and play around with different AI tools.
So embrace that playful spirit.
Exactly. And remember, it's a skill.
Yeah.
You can learn it and refine it over time.
It's like anything else. Practice makes perfect.
There are tons of resources, online communities, courses you can take.
Awesome. So just jump in and don't be afraid to make mistakes.
Exactly. That's how we learn.
All right. Well, on that note, I think we've covered a lot of ground today.
Yeah,
This deep dive into prompt engineering has been incredible.
it has. It's been a pleasure.
So to our listeners out there, we encourage you to keep exploring, keep experimenting, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible with AI.
The future's in your hands.
Until next time, keep those prompts sharp.
And those minds curious.